We've got you covered all season long. Welcome to the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right, here it is, Season 3, Episode 7 of the BCSN Nation podcast, powered by Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go, Sports Bar! Brandon Carnes here with Justin Feldkamp and Coach Mike Robb. We have officially passed the midway point of the season, gentlemen, so the first week of the second half of the season, you have a takeaway as we head into the latter portions of the football season.
Yes, I do. Special teams matter.
Amen.
St. Ignatius Central Catholics, the Irish go on the road. St. Ignatius misses a PAT that would have tied it, likely forced overtime. Instead, PAT wide right. Central Catholic escapes, comes back home to the 419 with the victory. Special teams, Mike Robb, they matter not in critical situations like that, but just the game-changing impact that they can have when you return a kick, when you block a punt. Yeah. It is a huge swing of emotion, and it can just catapult and lift your offense and your defense, your team, your stands, your team overall.
100%. Like Rob, take away.
Special teams are special, and you know, to bring it back a few years, maybe about 6-7 years ago, there was a special teams play from the team that I'm going to talk about, where the kicker made a tackle on the 1 yard line, stopping St. Francis from beating them, and that was Lima Senior. And Lima Senior this year, they got a quarterback that's leading the nation in passing yards with 2,900 passing yards, and that's Janaeus Hall from Lima Senior. Yeah, that's Mr. Football Cannon. That's my takeaway.
Yeah, they've also got 3 of the top receiving yardage leaders in the state of Ohio right now. That offense down in Lima is clicking, and I'm going to take away that, once again, St. Francis is the real deal in their back, and we'll see more real deal St. Francis action later on in the show with our player of the week. We'll get our agree to disagree rolling today, and of course, our game of the week preview, more NLL Buckeye action coming up. And you want more BCSN Nation action every single week, make sure you're right here at 4 p.m. on BCSN for brand new episodes of the podcast, or head anywhere you want your audio medium, Spotify, Amazon, Apple. We're anywhere, we're everywhere, and we're at bcsnnation.com/podcast. And make sure you're following us on any social media platform that you can think of at BCSN Sports. Hit the follow button. Don't miss a day of action, whether it's new stuff coming out from Sports Nightly or stuff we got coming up this Friday, any other day of the week at BCSN Sports. Hit the follow button. And gentlemen, it's time to disagree or agree, whatever we decide when we're talking about these topics. So we're starting out. Obviously, we know Central Catholic seeking their 3rd straight state title. They've had some big wins roll out throughout the season, some things they've fixed and revamped stuff. Outside of Central Catholic, who is the real state title contender? Do we have one? Is there somebody that's in this position to run for a state title too?
I'll go with Liberty Center in Division 5. They were just in the state championship game last year, came up 1 touchdown short to Perry. I bring that up because Perry went from Division 5 to Division 4. So now Perry has to go up against the likes of Sandusky, Perkins, and Cleveland Glenville. So Liberty Center brings back a ton of talent. Yes, they lost a ton of talent, but they still got a plenty left. I'll also say Oak Harbor in Division 5.
Yeah.
And then I'll throw Toledo Christian in there in 8-man football. They obviously going up against a smaller group of teams who are in the Northern 8 Conference. But Toledo Christian has been a solid 8-man football team since its inception. So if you want to spread the wealth across 8-man and 11-man, I'll go with Toledo Christian, Liberty Center, Oak Harbor, beyond Central Catholic.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with anything Carter Kester related when it comes to 8-man football. That kid absolutely dominates whenever he has a chance to. So any other picks outside of what you've seen? We've seen Anthony Wayne, Perrysburg off to unbeaten starts. Ottawa Hill is playing well at the beginning of the season here. Is there somebody else contending for a trip to the state final?
Well, you know what? I look at the Division 1, Region 1, and you look at Perrysburg in the top of it, and that's a weak region, but it's also a very, very scary region because you take a look at that and you see St. Ignatius right now.
It's a 16.
It's a 16 seed, and that is a scary matchup for any one team. They've had the hardest schedule.
Yeah, they've played some crazy teams
in the country. Their schedule is crazy. So I don't think they've played anybody with a losing record, and I think they're only getting better. You got the Holy War this week, so we'll see how that tie up. But for Whitmer and Perrysburg, they still have a chance. Finley still has a chance in there, but Perrysburg-Whitmer game just has so much more meaning.
Yeah, let me finish up this topic, agree to disagree, with D1 and D2. The reasons why I didn't necessarily bring up our Perrysburgs or our Anthony Waynes. Yes, they're state ranked right now. We haven't seen them in a while. And Anthony Wayne's first season under Andy Brungard, they went to the state semifinals, I believe. But since then, they've bowed out in the first or second or third round.
Sure.
And then when you look at the other contenders for state, we're talking state titles here. That was the question.
Yeah. No, for
D1
sure.
and D2. In D1, you got Mentor, St. Ed's, Springfield down in the Dayton area, Moeller, Winton Woods, Lakota West, top-tier teams. D2, you got Walsh Jesuit, Hoban, Avon, Highland, Avon Lake, Big Walnut, Anderson, and LaSalle.
Anderson's real good.
Those are some top type of teams, top-tier teams that our area teams would have to go against. Not saying they don't have a chance. I'm just saying those are the obstacles in the way.
Yeah, still plenty to prove. We're only through 6 weeks. The other thing that I want to pitch to you guys is there is no conference division, anything close to as wide open as the NLL Cardinal Division. Between Clay and Ross, BG, Napoleon, Southview, any of those teams can win this conference, and there's no clear cut. This is the number one team.
You want the short answer?
Sure.
You're not getting it. Here's the long answer. The reasons
figured.
why I'm
That
going
checks
to
out.
agree with you, I'm going to agree with you because of the following. I think in the City League, it's between Start and Lima Senior, two teams. By the way, Lima Seniors wins. Yes, they're undefeated against a 2-4 team, a 3-3 team, a 1-5 team, an 0-6 team, a 2-4 team, and an 0-6 team.
Hey, don't put
Just
sour
facts.
milk in there. Don't put sour milk in there.
Those are facts. That's not my opinion. Those
That's
are
the
facts.
disagree portion.
Okay, Northern Lakes League Buckeye Division. I think it's down to 3 teams. Anthony Wayne, Perrysburg, and Whitmer.
Sure.
NBC, I think it's 2 teams. Eastwood, Oak Harbor. NWAL, it's 1 team. Liberty Center. TAC, 2 teams. Eden and Ottawa Hills. CHSL Central. DCC and Central Catholic. CHSL AA. I think it's St. Francis and Lumen Christi. They play this week, by the way.
Yep.
And in the Northern Lakes League Cardinal Division, I think it's 4 teams. So I'm going to agree
100%.
with you. Clay, Napoleon, Southview, and Fremont Ross. I don't include Bowling Green in there. They came up short at Clay. Not necessarily reflective of that. I just say who's the top contenders. And I think Clay, Napoleon, Southview, and Fremont Ross. 4 teams. So yes, that is the most parity of any division in our area.
Yeah, easily. I think it's hard to find a disagree when you're looking at there's not one team in there. There may be, Clay with Mason Heinschel or, Southview returning and playing so well despite having lost so many parts to come into it. What's your thought on the Buckeye or the Cardinal division of the NLL?
Is Mason Heinschel still healthy?
Mason Heinschel is still healthy.
Okay.
And he's
That's my
hard to
answer.
tackle, and he's hard to cover his guys when he's running around like a crazy person all over the field.
Well, I'll say, it comes down to quarterback play, and you saw down in Fremont, they almost gave that game away,
Sure.
to Napoleon. They fought back in that one. That was a fun football game, but Clay just seems to be clicking on all cylinders at this point in the season, and I feel like it's Clay or bust at this point. If Clay don't win it, I don't know who will, to be honest. I think it's just that it is open, but I feel like Clay is the favorite at this point. And really, they're the favorite because Justin, I said earlier this season they were the favorite. And I got to stick with it.
I know. I
That's
agree.
not my guns.
I agree. Of those 4, I think they are the favorite. But we just saw Bowling Green come up 2 points short on the road at Clay.
And that was due to a really good late drive by
7
Clay to
minute
milk
drive.
the clock. Yeah, 100%.
That's why you know that they're so good because they could score real fast, but they took their time.
Yeah. All right. That's a wrap on Agree to Disagree. And it's not a wrap on Eli Real Deal Beal because he is our Player of the Week, brought to you by Family House. Hit the wipe, Cisco. Once was not enough for Eli Beal. Twice is nice. And the man scores touchdowns like it's all he knows how to do. 3 touchdowns in their win over UD Jesuit. All 3 in the first quarter, 2 rushing, 1 receiving. 16 touchdowns on the season already for old Real Deal Beal himself, the first 2-time winner of the 2024 season. And he just has a knack for the end zone that feels unlike anybody else in the area.
First off, Real Deal Bill, listen, I'm going to need a percentage of all those shirts you selling and things like that, all that merchandise you got
Look at
out
that
there.
NIL deal.
But anyway, no, he's real. Like he's real deal. And the reason why is because he is so explosive. He's able to get out in space. He makes make defenders look silly. And there's times where I feel like he's not the biggest running back, but then he breaks several tackles and then just keeps it going.
With pad level.
He plays excellent. So I think that St. Francis, got really, really grateful to have him on the roster, and he is boosting up their program in the big way.
Yeah, you can give credit to, of course, his offensive lineman up front, but especially in one of those touchdowns last week where they all just piled behind him and carried him the last yard and a half, 2 yards into the end zone. So you want a running back to give credit to his lineman, especially on that one. Our second-time player of the week, Family House will make it together. Shout out to Eli Beal. We'll be right back after 30 seconds from B-Dubs.
Buffalo Wild Wings buy one, get one free. Boneless Thursdays saved me so much cash. I can finally do everything I've ever wanted in life, like skydiving. You ready? No, this was a mistake, a huge mistake. I want to go back. I want to go back. Go! Yeah, I'll probably just use the money I saved to get more buy one, get one free boneless wings at B-Dubs. No brainer. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, skydiving may be a race to the ground, but we're talking about a race to the top in the NBC. And two teams taking on this Friday are both trying to climb that ladder. Genoa at Maumee, a big-time test again for Maumee in the NBC. Again, a prove that you are here to stay. Take on, those next steps towards becoming an NBC champion if you are the Maumee Panthers, Coach Karchner.
100%. They kind of had a similar matchup earlier this season where we talked about this when they played Oak Harbor at home.
And then
Maumee
followed that with Eastwood.
Correct. They came up short in both of those games. Oak Harbor and Eastwood are the clear-cut best of the best in the Northern Buckeye Conference. I think a notch below Genoa, maybe even with them, Maumee, and we'll find out if they're going to play on the field this Friday night. So kind of that 1, 2, 3, 4 tiered system there, where they all shake out. I would give it to Oak Harbor, as I mentioned earlier. That week, I believe 8 or 9 matchup for Oak Harbor and Eastwood. We'll talk about that when we get there. This matchup, Genoa at Maumee, I think this could be a raucous environment. Kazmaier Stadium, one of the best area stadiums in Northwest Ohio. So I hope the Panthers will get out there, but Genoa travels very well. And there's some playmakers on both sides of the ball with this one. You got Luke Clement, Alex Spencer, Jax Magnone, Cam Agler, and Miles Mollenhauer on the offensive side for Genoa. Flip it to Maumee's side, Cody Wolf, Keyshawn Midcalf, Carson Grates, Eli Dotson, Will Kubitz, and Ben Kubitz. They have guys on both sides that can be difference makers, that can either grind out the 3 to 6 yard running game, or they can beat you on a play action and then get a receiver deep and score a touchdown that way. But I would say that Maumee, if they win this game, I'd say they have a 50% chance to go 8-2. Week 10 matchup versus Otsego, up in the air. But they should beat the teams prior to that if they can get this win against Genoa. And this team was a 34-game losing streak entering last season. This team was a 5-5 team last season. Coach Evan Karchner has done a great job. And you got to get while the getting's good, Mike Rob.
Absolutely.
And they have those guys that I just listed off. Okay? Those kids aren't coming through Maumee's doors, at least recently, year after year after year after year. Right. This is a core group of solid athleticism players, and they got to cash in now. And a 7-3 and 8-2 season would be terrific. Get a good seeding, maybe host a home game.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. Maumee could host a home game. Yes, 16-team expansion. I get it, but still, for Maumee to host a home game in 2024 would be remarkable.
Yeah, we've seen the Panthers. We all know my allegiance with the Panthers this season, but we've seen them beat the teams they're supposed to beat. This is that next chance to show we're taking that next step. We're taking that next level. This is a Genoa team that beat Otsego last week, which would be a huge thing to give you confidence to beat Otsego later in the season if you're Maumee as well.
You know what? And this is a game about defense, in my opinion. This is going to be, can Maumee, we know
they can put up points. We know their offense could be explosive.
When they get in tough matchups, can they handle this rushing attack that you're going to see from Genoa? They're going to line up, put everybody in the box, and then they're just going to try to plow your guys backwards and take the clock away from you.
Yeah.
So that doesn't advantage Maumee, but like Justin said, they have the talent, they have the skill to be able to do the exact same thing. Keep the clock away from Genoa. This is a game that could end up being the 20, 21, 18 type of game, something real close. So I'm excited for this matchup, but I do think that Maumee has hit that point where they're no longer looked at as like a bottom feeder team. Yeah. They are now looked at as a contender, and you have to play them pretty tough on your schedule when you see them.
Yeah, 100%.
So kudos to Maumee, but for Genoa this week, This is a game. Can they control the third down conversions? Can they continue to get third downs?
Stay on the field and keep Maumee off it.
If Maumee can stop them on defense, I think Maumee goes and win this one big.
All right, that'll be 7 p.m. this Friday on the BCSN Plus app. But now we got to go back to last week because there was a crazy play Mike Robb was there for, and that is our renewal by Anderson clip of the week. Wipe it, Cisco. Let me see this thing. It's Damian Harrington time. Our clip of the week, renewal by Anderson. One paw. Give me that thing. Whew.
Who's that, Jeremiah Smith?
It's tough. Oh, there's the callback. There we go. The man dominating down in Columbus. This man dominating over at Wait. Damian Harrington, only a sophomore, a team captain, and a guy that their defensive coordinator, Nickel Point, told me couldn't have happened this play to a better young man. He does everything right, and he sure did a whole lot right on this one.
You know, there's a bad pass from one by Singer. He doesn't really make many bad passes like that, throwing into tough coverage. But credit the Wait defense, putting a lot of pressure. The big boys up front, they're pressuring. You see them getting in the backfield, forcing Singer to throw the ball. But Harrington right there just goes up in the air and just put that right hand up and say, I'm going to come down with it no matter what. That was special to see in person. I think we saw 2 one-hand catches in this game. This game did not disappoint. And shout out to Wait, I know they didn't come out on top, but, you know, this is a young, talented program.
Yeah, this is a play. Go ahead, Justin.
Great call on Tim Clegg and Mike Robb on this game. And that was just a phenomenal defensive play, kind of presence. You're doing everything right. He drops back appropriately, sticks with his man. There's no way any other Bowser guys are going to catch that. It was going to be Wait or nobody. And to have a SportsCenter #1 top play, that's a lifelong memory.
Yeah, exactly. You can't wake up on Friday morning and realize that you're #1 player on SportsCenter. I can't imagine what that feeling is like. But you talked about him in coverage, talking to their defensive coordinator. He was actually supposed to be in like curl flat area. He just kind of read the eyes, saw where he was looking, and just opened his hips, went back with it. As a coach, I'm watching this. I'm like, they really good job passing off the in and out on zone coverage on the outside. And then he just watches the eyes and was like, I'm going to go make a play. He's supposed to be, 9 yards off the line of scrimmage. He ends up 18, 20 yards down the field making a crazy play.
Hey, he just got that sixth sense. He
be
felt
a playmaker, baby.
He felt it and went forward, and he said, you know what? Nah, it's a straight pass. And he made a play, man. I mean, that's a football player, and it's 100%. A football player making a play.
So they did lose, unfortunately, in a thriller. Great if you're a Bowser Blue Racer. An amazing game on Thursday night. Follow at BCSN Sports over on TikTok. You want to see more of this play or anything else that goes down on Friday night. All the best plays. But for now, we're heading south to Bowling Green, our Unison Health student section of the week. The Bobcats get the belt. Speaking of TikTok, they're blowing us up on TikTok. I don't know if anybody's in competition with them when it comes to that. They got the best student section TikTok, at least hitting us up. So they're getting the belt. They're taking on Southview this Friday. Our student section of the week brought to you by Unison Health, proud sponsor of high school athletics here on BCSN. And speaking of that game, let's get into talking about it. Southview at BG. We talked about how wide open the Buckeye Cardinal division is. This is a true test for both of these teams. The first Cardinal game for Southview. We talked about Bowling Green falling last week to Clay. Both teams 3-3. And this is a true proving point, really, for both of these teams to put yourself back in the driving spot or kind of fall out of position into the wayside.
Oh, 100%. If you are Southview or Bowling Green, you have intentions of winning the Cardinal division, which I'm pretty sure both of them do. This is a must-win game. If you take a look at the region rankings in the playoffs for Southview, they're number 19 right now in Division II, and Bowling Green is number 15. So
they need it.
You really, really need it if you want to avoid going on a road trip in the first round of the postseason and being totally outmatched. So Southview's last 4 games, they're, I think, all going to go to the fourth quarter. At Bowling Green, home against Fremont Ross, home against Clay, at Napoleon. If you remember last year, the Napoleon at Southview Week 10 game was the de facto championship deciding game, and Southview came out on top in a close game. But the offensive playmakers for Southview, Mo MacArthur, Aylin Selman, Will Mazies. Mazies has been under some pressure in the backfield and not having a whole lot of time in the pocket, but I still want to see a little bit better decision-making out of him. I think he's been backpedaling sometimes and throwing some errant passes that are just kind of too easy. It's just like, here's a gift for the defense, whether that's a linebacker or a cornerback making an interception. So I think you got to take care of the football a little bit better. And we've seen Bowling Green, for the most part, they are a run-dominant team.
Between
occasionally
Schaefer,
we've seen them pass, but I credit Coach Sean Kiss in his first year. You got to go with what got you there and where your talent is, and it's at the running back position. And JCS Shannon has proven it time after time. Jackson Schaefer, you mentioned, Brogan Paisley as well. And then we've talked about a freshman quarterback, Landon Eckleberry, down at Findlay, coming in for the injured Ryan Montgomery.
Yeah.
A freshman quarterback's playing pretty well at Bowling Green as well, Grant Gillespie. He's doing what he needs to do. Get your playmakers the football.
Yep.
Don't turn the ball over. Have clean snaps. Have clean handoffs. Manage the game. Possess the ball. Take care of the football. I think this game should be very, very competitive all the way to the fourth quarter.
Looking at the stats for both of these teams coming into this one, the big standout for me in both these things, Southview in their wins, 43 points per game. In their losses, 13. Bowling Green in their wins, 37 points per game. In their losses, 16. That is a massive disparity for both of these teams from when they're playing well and very obviously to when they are scoring 13 or 16 points a game. It's tough to win.
Well, you said it right there. The teams that they've played, they are 1-17 that they've beat. We talk about Southview. So they haven't really beaten anybody worth much at this point in the season.
Right.
And that's not a discredit to them. You play who's in front of you.
Yeah. But teams are supposed to beat.
But the main thing is with Southview, their defense is under attack. And this week they'll be under a big attack, and this will be JCS Shannon and the rest of those guys and Schaefer. So this is a game where can they handle the pressure that they're going to see offensively when they get, when they're running the ball at them, and can they get this team off the field? Again, Clay had a hard time, and Clay's a team that puts up 60 points, in a heartbeat, in a flash. And we didn't see that this week. So obviously Bowling Green's play tougher defense. This is a team that can beat you on special teams. And more importantly, this is going to be a very physical football game. Can Southview match that on the defensive side? I don't have a problem with them offensively putting up points. Can they match that defensively?
Yeah. We'll get the answers to those questions this Friday, 7 p.m. on the BCSN Plus app. But now it is time for more NLL Buckeye clashes. And our game of the week brought to you by Dunn Chevy in Oregon. 𝗦𝗽cie𝗿𝘀. All right, last week's game of the week, Whitmer on the road at A-Dub. This week, they are back at it on the road at Perrysburg. Another tough defense for the Panthers offense to take on. Another big-time test for both of these teams that we expect to finish in the top 2 to 3 of the NLL Buckeye, Mike.
Last week on this very Wednesday, I said that Anthony Wayne could blow this thing out.
Yeah.
That thing got clipped. I had a lot of people sending me that clip like, hey, you call that out. Well, Whitmer has the most talented team.
Sure.
They got to coach it better. You got to coach it better. So much talent across the board. And you look at this Perrysburg team, defensively, we already know Coach Mike Ward has the game plan. Obviously, he did one thing that we haven't seen all season, shut down Mason Heinchel. Put him in a box. Yeah. They did that. That is the same type of mentality they're going to have to worry about this week, is another defensive coordinator that's going to step in, ready to slow your quarterback down, and has the experience to put his players in good position. And now for Whitmer, they're going to have to rely on their toughness. They're going to have to step up and be physical and tough out the gate. Yeah. When Whitmer starts fast, they usually play really well. And that's going to be the key for them this week. Can Brady Ford get off to a good start defensively? Can they slow down Josh Tackett? That's a hard task. Yeah. This is going to be the hardest game of their season. They thought Anthony Wayne was tough. Yeah, they're tough. That's a tough team to beat, especially in the grass and in the wetness and then what the elements
that played into it.
But, again, this is another coaching matchup. Whitmer has the talent. Can they step up and show?
Yeah, the huge, I think I was going to say X factor in this is Mike Ward on defense, because that man knows how to scheme to fit and stop what you want to do. Him and Coach Gachardo battling it out between the coordinators. A lot to have fun with.
All right, Perrysburg defense over the course of 6 games has allowed 21, maybe 28 points. I know they gave up a special teams touchdown.
5.8 points per game.
Yeah, I know they gave up a special teams touchdown to St. Francis in week 1, right. So you can't count that against the defense. But less than 30 points over the course of 6 games. Not too bad. 3 shutouts in that mix as well.
Yep.
But on the other side of the ball for Whitmer, they admitted they got outplayed and out-physicaled against Anthony Wayne. They owned it. Saturday film session after they lost, they said they owned it, so credit to that. Rushing yards in that game, Anthony Wayne and Whitmer. Whitmer had 9 rushing yards. Ugh. Anthony Wayne had 311. If that doesn't explain the outcome of the game,
Yikes.
I don't know what does. But if you're Whitmer, turn the page, and the best version of Whitmer better be going to Steinecker Stadium against Perrysburg. Here you go. Want some motivation? Carter Lowe, Kyler Koopmans, Donnell Nix, Cooper Bringman, Blake Wolf, offensive lineman for Whitmer. You better bring it. You better bring it.
Yeah.
Or you might get a dose of what you got last week. And this is the time to get it because the rest of your schedule doesn't look good in regards to winning games and getting playoff points. You're going to be favored in all those games going forward, but you're not going to get a bunch of playoff points. You get a massive amount of playoff points if you beat Perrysburg
That's a lot
on
at
the
stake.
road.
You
So
need it.
all of those guys on the side of the ball for Whitmer to get some offense going. Brady Ford's got to get clicking. You got to get some running game going. Joey Morales hopefully get back in the mix to the caliber of where he's been and as an explosive player. Isaiah Hayward maybe playing on the field turf is going to give some advantages to the potent offense for Whitmer. But that Perrysburg running game, they can drown it out. What I like about Perrysburg and Josh Tackett is they take what the defense gives you. Josh Tackett, if he has to run the ball, he will. If he has to pass the ball, he does. If he has to throw for 300 yards, he will. If he has to throw for 114 yards and get 2 easy touchdowns, he does. But they rely on Joe Cini, Dominic Woods, Nico Wachowski, Carson Pershing, a lot of different playmakers over there. No one completely stands out like Connor Wallensack when he was at Perrysburg.
Sure.
Okay, makes sense. Give the ball to a D1 type of running back. They don't have that, so they can spread the wealth. And I think that in some ways makes it more difficult for a defensive team to try to stop that Perrysburg offense.
A huge gut check for Whitmer. Can they bounce back from what happened last week? Can Perrysburg continue to prove that they might be the best defense we've seen in a while?
One other thing I'd like to say. You got to put Carter Lowe on defense.
Mike
That's
Ross
all I
talking
know.
about it every Friday.
I'm just saying, if I'm the defensive coordinator and I got that big fella, I got Coop and all those guys up front,
Plug up the middle.
get them on defense. Look, don't want to hear nothing about two-way players. Everybody's seen Travis Hunter, right? The best football player in college football.
He's pretty good.
He plays both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
He plays 100 snaps. I don't think anybody has a problem with it.
All right. That's Mike Robb's final petition for that. We'll hear more about it on Friday. I'm 100% positive.
I don't think that's his final petition.
No, I'm just trying to move him on from it. I don't want him to keep breaking his own heart.
Hey, look. Hey, I guarantee you Carter would play defense if he was asked.
Hey, that is between you and Carter or Carter and Coach Winners or Coach Winners and Ryan Day for that matter. I don't know, but we're going to move on to one of our top
That's a good point.
40 athletes of the BCSN era. On the ladies' side, Maddie Williams, the Golden Jacket, a star for Perrysburg, 48 goals in her senior season alone. That was the most in Ohio, whether it was boys or girls. Senior season, she was an All-American, All-State, part of the 23-0 state championship team for Perrysburg. Oh, by the way, an all-NLL basketball player as well. Went on to play at Purdue in college, played in 74 career games with Boilermakers, 38 career goals, 26 assists, both all-time leaders in that stat when she left Purdue. And then, by the way, went and played pro in the Dutch and Spanish clubs before now playing for the USL Indy 11, where she served as an assistant coach and player last season, and they were W League champions. Shout out to Maddie Williams, one of our top 20 female athletes of the BCSN era. We'll hear right back from our upcoming games after a quick 30-second spot from Buffalo Wild Wings.
I've saved so much money enjoying Buffalo Wild Wings BOGO half-off traditional wing Tuesdays. I can finally afford everything I've ever wanted in life. Wings. All I ever wanted was more wings. So yeah, buy one, get one half-off traditional wings is the perfect deal for me and my lifetime yearnings. I value it more than literally anything. Buffalo Wild Wings. Let's go sports bar.
At participating locations, not valid with other offers or discounts. See website or app for details.
All right, and let's go very quickly into our upcoming games graphic. We've got Woodward and Scott on Thursday, 6 p.m. on BCSN, but obviously game day tailgate will be at Perrysburg and Whitmer. And then we've got Genoa Mommy. We talked about Findlay at A-Dub, another tough test for the Generals. St. John's Central Catholic, Southview BG in that Cardinal division. Northview Springfield, another big matchup. Lake Rossford, both of those teams trying to find their stride and get right. And then you've got the Battle of Indecision. Start, wait, 6 p.m. on the BCSN Plus app. It's my favorite two teams to match up because I like the sounds of the whole thing.
Yeah, the Hesitation Bowl. Mark Kuntz is calling that. I'm going to call it the Begin and Pause Bowl. But, lots of good games there. And, hey, Purdue connection, Maddie Williams. Congrats to Antoine West, Whitmer guard, committed to Purdue. Ryan Smith, Whitmer guy, played for Purdue. And Todd Mitchell back from St. Francis days. played for Purdue as well.
Maybe he's going to go hang out with Joey Blaze out there at
419.
Purdue.
That's another good one.
There we
Lots
go.
of Purdue
See?
connections from the
Boilermakers
419.
are here. We'll be right back with more BCSN Nation podcast next Wednesday at 4 p.m. Listen to us anywhere you get your podcast. Follow at Justin Feldkamp, at _ Mike Robb, at BCSN Sports. Oh, I'm out. We're gone.
Touchdown.
Too late.
We got it. We made it.